Thanks for joining.
Hello everyone. Today we are going to sharing most important information. World World Bank with World Bank internship program. If you want to interested, so you can watch this full video. So I'm watching and we are watching with you.
Q. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for all the thumb ups. We will start in a minute, but let's just give more people time to join, and then we will start. Okay, I think we're ready to start now. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this informational session on the World Bank Group Pioneers Internship Program. I would like to say good morning because I do know a lot of you are joining from the Americas, from Washington, D.C., Latin America, and other parts of the world. So good morning to you if it's morning on your end. Since this is a global information session. So I would say good afternoon to those of you that are joining from other regions. I'm joining from London, but I do have my colleagues from DC. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Greetings to everyone. Thank you for joining the session today. We're just going to start now, and we would go through a presentation, a corporate presentation on who we are, but also we would also go through why we're here today. We'll give you all the information you need to know about the World Bank Group Pioneers Internship Program. I'm sure you do have a lot of questions. So we do have our colleagues online. If you have a question, feel free to type it in the chat and our colleagues will be able to respond to you directly. Please note, because there are hundreds of you, we may not be able to go through all the answers, but we will try our best. For those of you that posted questions prior to today, we will have some time at the end of the discussion. We will skip some time for us so that we can go through those questions and my colleagues that are online will be able to answer them directly. So now, without much ado, my name is Mabel Udor, and I'm the Talent Attraction Manager here at the World Bank Group. All the recruitment programs, I manage them, and I based in Washington, D.C., although currently I'm in London, but officially my base is HQ, Washington, D.C. I will now hand over to my colleague, Rudy, to go ahead and introduce himself and then proceed with the presentation. Rudy, over to you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mabel, and thank you and welcome everyone. I love seeing the chat. I see many of you are joining from all over the world. Keep telling me where you're joining from because we love seeing where you're coming. Now, this is our team. We'll speak today for about 20 minutes, and then from there on, we'll start with the Q&A. My name is Rudy Perez Mareño, based in Washington, D.C. I'm the program lead for our Talent Discovery Group, where we look for we're the best and the brightest in looking to join our institution. Let's talk about the World Bank Group, and let's get started first with who we are, right? I think we all have a little bit of a notion of the World Bank. Really, this institution was created, and it is today the largest source of funding and knowledge for developing countries. Our vision, our goal is to create a world free of poverty on a livable planet. What you see here in front of us is a photo of our headquarters, one of our headquarters buildings here in Washington, D.C., but we have more than one building in Washington and buildings around the world where it may be where you may be working in the near future. Now, we are one group, but really five different organizations within that group. There's IBRD, there's IDA, ISC, MIGA, and ICSID. And I'll explain each one of them very briefly so that you get to understand. Also, as you apply for internship roles, you may get a better understanding of where you'll be working. So IBRD is the institution that started the World Bank, is what most people know as World Bank. It stands for International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. This institution provides loans to middle-income countries and governments. Now, as we're working to fight and end poverty, some governments don't have the capacity to be able to repay their loans back to us, or they may struggle. So for that, we've created IDA, which stands for the International Development Association. This provides concessional loans or grants at zero interest rate to some of those poorest countries in the world, right? So IBRD and IDA work together with the public sector, that is with governments around the world. But if you're looking to fight poverty, you don't just focus on working with governments, you also need to involve the private sector. And this is where IFC comes in. IFC stands for the International Finance Corporation. This is the largest institution for private sector development in the world. And as I said, it provides loans to the private sector, to companies that want to build jobs and maybe expand factories and boost exports and so on. Now, ISC works very closely with MIGA. MIGA is the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. Think of it as an insurance, right? A lot of investors are interested in investing together with us, but they may be hesitant to invest in a place like Argentina or perhaps Turkey because of political instability or whatnot. MIGA steps in and provides a guarantee for their investments. So MIGA works very closely with IFC. And finally, the last one from this group is ICSID. This is the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. It does exactly what the name suggests, right? It provides conciliation, arbitration for international disputes. Now, all five institutions cooperate, right, and promote sustainable development with knowledge, financing, and expertise. Now, very important, and I saw some of the questions already submitted is, what are you looking beyond the resume? I'll tell you right now, and you can look at the slides. We're looking for people with core values, right? That actually match our core values, right? So those core values are impact, integrity, respect, teamwork, and innovation. This is something we look for all of the employees at the World Bank Group, but particularly we're also looking at this for anyone looking to join us. We also have some cultural attributes you'll see here at the bottom. Those are empowerment, accountability, sense of urgency, and thoughtful risk taking. Let's talk a little bit more about poverty, right? When you think about poverty, it's very complex, right? There's no just one reason why poverty exists. And a solution to poverty also is complex and intertwined. The way we organize our work is through five separate verticals. There's people, prosperity, planet, infrastructure, and digital. And that's how we think of solutions. So for example, in planet, that's where we work on agriculture, climate, water, environment solutions, right? In infrastructure, we're looking at energy, extractives, transport, sustainable infrastructure finance, and urban development. But when you think about this, these verticals are also not separate. Many of the solutions that we come up with actually touch more than one of these verticals. So for example, if we're working on digital, we may be able to create a true map of poverty, and that will help us with social protection programs, right? So as you're thinking about where to apply, think about this and where you want to contribute. Now, in terms of results, we're able to measure our results, and we've picked just a few to share with you here. But if you want to see more, the full list of all of what we've been able to accomplish since the year 2023, you go to this website, which is at the bottom, scorecard.worldbank.org. Since 2023, we've been able to provide better access to food for over 200 million people, improve education for over 300 million students, better healthy water, sanitation, hygiene for over 70 million, right? And so on and so forth. I really, really encourage you to take a look at our scorecard, because this is where you'll see the results live of what we and you potentially will be able to accomplish when you join us. Now, I wanted to just give an example of a project, because you may be thinking, okay, I understand the verticals, I understand what we want to accomplish. Tell me, what kind of projects do I get involved? And I'll give you one example. This is Mission 300, right? This is an initiative that we have together with the African Development Bank. And the goal is to connect 300 million people in sub-Saharan Africa to electricity by the year 2030, which means we have less than 5 years to do it. Now, what do we want to do? We want to expand electric access to underserved communities that don't have access to electricity, right? They're very remote. We want to deploy for those mini grids and maybe some of the solar solutions, right? We also want to work together with the utilities and help modernize their energy infrastructure across the entire continent and boost utility efficiency, right? Bringing the right technology for these utilities. And more than anything, we also want to create regional energy integration so that if a country is able to produce more energy, it can actually export that. Now, why is this important? We know for a fact that over 600 million people in sub-Saharan Africa do not have access to electricity. Now, how does that impact them, right? They don't have access to education, to healthcare, even to be able to apply to an internship like ours. This would be difficult, right? So if we can bring 300 million people into the electric grid, we will be lifting millions of people out of energy poverty and improving their development around the world. So you may be wondering where we work. It's not just Africa. That was just one example for Mission 300. We work in 6 different regions and across 145 countries. The regions are this: Africa, East Asia, Pacific, Europe, Central Asia, Latin America, Caribbean, Middle East, North Africa, Afghanistan, and South Asia. Now, with that, I want to leave it for my colleague Nidin to introduce himself and take it from here.
Thanks so much, Rudy. Thanks, Rudy. Very quickly, I would like to introduce the program before my colleague Nidin would come in. So I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what is World Bank Group Pioneers, because it's new. And I know in the past, maybe, you know, we had 2 different internship programs, the Global Internship Program on the IFC, with the IFC, and the Bank Internship Program with IBRD or MEGA. And so you're wondering, what is World Bank Group Pioneers? Now, World Bank Group Pioneers is a new internship program, a newly designed internship program by the World Bank Group, meaning this program replaces the bank internship program and the global internship program. So if you're interested in an internship program with the IFC or any of the institutions, this is the only program that you would be applying to. So we won't have any other global internship program or bank internship program opening up later this month or next month. This is now the corporate, newly designed World Bank Group internship program, and it is called the World Bank Group Pioneers. So what are the program features? What's the difference? You'll be wondering, what's the difference between this program and the other ones that we've had in the past? And there's been a few changes to it. So if you can really pay attention to this slide, because these are the program features. The program, it's now, the duration is 4 weeks to 6 months. In the past, we've had 4 weeks to 4 months, about 16 weeks. But now the program says minimum of 4 weeks to 6 months. Now, that does not mean that all internship opportunities are for 6 months. What it means is that you can start an internship between April and September. So for some of you, it may be 4 weeks, it may be 2 months, it may be 3, 4, 5, or full scale 6 months. But the program now runs between 4 weeks to 6 months. The other change is we now have 2 cycles. In the past, we've had just the summer internship program, but right now we're going to have 2 internship cycles. One is the one that is open at the moment, which is from April to September. So that's the summer internship program. But we would have another internship program open, which would be the fall and winter cycle. Now that cycle would be from October to March. And this all depends on your program, in school, if you're still in school or out of school, because the eligibility criteria would apply to both cycles. The other difference is that now we have two tracks internship program. So there is a postgraduate track and the undergrad track. In the past, we've had tons of questions about, I'm an undergrad, I'm a bachelor student, do you have any internship opportunities for me? And our answers has been no. But now we do have a new internship program for all undergraduates. So there are two tracks. So when you go to the website, there will be two tracks. Undergrad, meaning if you're an undergrad student, you go ahead and click on the undergrad track and apply. But if you're a postgrad student, then you go ahead and click on the postgrad track to apply. Another thing is there are structured learning. So because you're all joining as a cohort, there'll be structured learning. You would have World Bank Group corporate trainings, organized for you. There'll be knowledge sessions. There would also be end of internship performance. So as you come in, you would work on project. You will have the opportunities to work on hands-on project. So of course, your performance is going to be evaluated at the end of the internship program. You would have networking opportunities, we'll have cohort activities for you, meeting senior leadership, like in fire chat conversations with either MDs or VPs or even the president of the World Bank, who knows? So those are the kind of things that that are the program features for this program. All our internship programs are paid. So if you're part of the World Bank Group Pioneers program, you will be paid. There's a salary for that. And salaries depend on your location. So for example, if you're an intern in South Africa, it's likely that you'll be paid in South African Rand and not in USD. So the salary varies based on where you're located. There'll be visa support, so if you go to the page, you would see some internships are on site, meaning you have to be on the ground in the location to work there. But some of them are remote or hybrid, meaning you can be based in South Africa and maybe do an internship in DC. It's very possible. But you can also, have the opportunity to work on the ground in DC. And so we'll offer the visa support. But please note, at times, visa applications take time. So take note of that because there could be huge delays as well. Next slide. Eligibility criteria. So you'll be wondering, what is the eligibility criteria, whether it's postgrad or undergrad? What do I need to have? What's the criteria? For the undergrad track, you have to be a final year student. So irrespective of how long your course is, whether it's a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year course, provided you're in your last year, you're eligible to apply. For postgraduate students, you must be currently studying or pursuing your master's degree or a PhD. Official language for the World Bank Group is English, so you must speak English fluently. However, if you have other languages, you speak more than one language, is preferred. Obviously, you do have an advantage, but that doesn't mean that if you do not speak other languages, then you will not be hired. No. Provided you speak English and you're applying to a position that says English, then you're fine. But if you're applying to a position that has a requirement for a language, then please ensure you are at least speaking that language at a professional level before you apply to that position. Work experience is 0 to 6 years. Nationality, you must be a citizen of one of the World Bank Group member countries. Please don't ask me what the countries are, or don't ask us, because there are a lot of countries. There are about 190 countries. So go online or Google or go to our website and you'll be able to scroll through to see if your country is one of those countries. No close relatives are allowed to work at the bank. If it's your spouse or partner, that's fine. But if it's a sibling or parent, then it is a no. I think I'd like to pause here and then just invite and introduce Nadine. Now, Nadine is the program lead for this program, and I'm sure you'll be seeing his name in some of the emails. If you have any question and you're directing your email, or please send your email to the World Bank Group Pioneers at worldbankgroup.org email address. Nadine will be there to attend to you. So I'd like to introduce Nadine, and then he can take us through the rest of the slide. Nadine?
Thank you, Mabel. Hello, everyone. My name is Nadine, and I work together with Mabel and Judy in the World Bank Group's talent programs and outreach team. I lead the World Bank Group Pioneers internship, and I'm based in Washington, D.C., and I'm delighted to be here today to engage with you all. So let's move on to the application materials. The good news is the application material is very straightforward. We are not asking anything unusual. Your CV is where we get to know your academic journey and any relevant experience. Keep it concise, up to 2 pages, highlighting your academic and experience. 1 pager focused on your motivation and fit for the role. We are not expecting perfection in your cover letter. We are looking out for authenticity. So let your cover letter speak to us and let your profile help us to understand what experience you hold. Let's focus on the proof of eligibility. This part is purely administrative. Transcripts or enrollment letters to confirm your education track. It is just help us to verify eligibility, nothing to stress about. A quick but important reminder. We do ask that you apply to no more than 3 positions. This helps ensure your applications are thoughtful and well aligned. So let's move on to the application process. Here's the journey. Reggie, next slide. Yes, thank you. So here's the journey from application to onboarding. So I'm sure everyone should have been aware that the applications for the internship opened this Monday, January 19th, and will close on February 17th. Everything must be submitted by 11:59 p.m. UTC. Every application is carefully reviewed during the second half of February. This is where the team looks closely at alignment, skill, and motivation. If you move forward, you will be invited to complete a short assessment which will focus on logical and analytical reasoning or a case study. That will happen tentatively on February 26th. Interviews are virtual and will happen in March. Offers are sent in April. Once selected, onboarding begins and new cohort starts from April. We know it's competitive, but every step is designed to help you shine. Before we move on to the next slide, I want to emphasize that at the World Bank Group, we are committed making your recruitment process inclusive, accessible for every candidate. If you need any support or accommodation at any stage, whether during your application, assessment, or interview, we strongly encourage you to let us know. You can reach out to us through our email ID, which Mabel mentioned, and it's on the website too. We handle all requests with complete confidentiality and respect. Your privacy and comfort are top priorities. Please note, your potential is what matters most to us, and we want every candidate to have a chance to shine. With that, I'll hand it back to Mabel. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thanks so much, Nadine. And today we do have, a former intern, David, who has joined us today, and we would like to just have a quick chat with David. So if you have a question for David, please feel free to put that in the chat and I'll be able to ask him directly. So David, without much ado, do you want to just, unmute yourself, introduce yourself and tell us what you're currently doing at the bank?
Happy to, and just want to say thank you to you, Mabel, and my colleagues here for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all today. And as was mentioned, my name is David Mena. I'm currently an economist in the Development Impact Measurement Department of the International Finance.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining. A former intern, David, who has joined us today, and we would like to just have a quick chat with David. So if you have a question for David, please feel free to put that in the chat and I'll be able to ask him directly. So David, without much ado, do you want to just, unmute yourself, introduce yourself and tell us what you're currently doing at the bank?
Happy to, and just want to say thank you to you, Mabel, and my colleagues here for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all today. And as was mentioned, my name is David Mena. I'm currently an economist in the Development Impact Measurement Department of the International Finance Corporation. As you heard, that's part of the World Bank group that's a World Bank Group institution focused on private sector investment, and I mostly focus on the health and education sectors. So that's what I'm currently doing here. And as was also mentioned, I am a former intern between my first and second year of my master's. In the summer of 2023, I started my journey here as an intern in the then Africa Regional Economics Unit. Then I stayed on as a short-term consultant for a little while, and then in the fall of 2024, I started my current position as a current staff position as an economist.
Great. Thanks, David. I mean, I've seen a question, that just popped up now. If you perform, someone is asking, if I perform very well, would I be able to go into a role, a temp position immediately? And I hear you as you introduce yourself. You did mention you're 2023 intern, and after that, you got an ST appointment, and now you are staff, right? So what was that process for you? How was your internship? What was your performance like? And how were you able to get an ST appointment? I think that would be very, very helpful for a lot of participants.
Yeah, good questions and questions I get asked often. I mean, for me, and there's a lot of advice we're given as graduate students and just as people, applying to different internships. And I think all of that advice you're getting is valid, right? Like networking, like making sure you have the privilege of being here at the internship, you have access to a lot of people, like make use of that. To me, it's always, I think your body of work always speaks for yourself. So making sure, one, that, you're just, putting your full effort into it. Two, always, there's of course the work you'll be assigned to, but there's always more opportunities here to, if you have that extra time and are willing to give that extra effort, just, find ways to do that. My formal manager, when I was in my internship, I was also working with a different colleague in a different department, and that's where I ended up getting my SCC. It wasn't actually the unit I was working in directly. It was actually that colleague I was helping out with some things related to my internship was on health economics. So, it was just kind of nerding out together and doing some things on like insurance markets and things like that. So for me, it was work I really enjoyed doing and it showed. So when my internship ended a couple months later, I had stayed in touch and an opportunity arose to contribute to one of his projects. So that's how that transition happened. And through that, actually, and through, I guess, his department, which is now my current department, I ended up meeting new people and kind of demonstrating my knowledge and also my body of work. So it was very much kind of from one to the other. But I will say, and I think it's important, that there was some uncertainty in between, each one of the transitions. It's not always, the path isn't always clear, but I think the pathways are there.
Fantastic. So tell us about your internship experience as an intern. What were the projects that you had to work on? What hands-on experience did you gain? Because at times people think, an internship is, I'll be making photocopies, taking notes in meetings and doing the coffee. But I know World Bank Group internship programs are not like that. You literally are put on a project, hands-on, you gain hands-on real experience. So tell us, what was your internship experience like? What kind of projects did you work? Interestingly, you said your internship was in Africa region. So tell us what you did.
Yeah, and absolutely. And let me just say, I earlier in my career, I've been in those internships too, where you're just, kind of pushing paper a little bit. This is not it. And even from my interview, I knew right away this was not going to be one of those internships. It was
not at all.
Yeah, not at all. My interview was very technical. And it was, again, my internship was focused on health economics, and a lot of, I will say immediately I was treated as an equal, which I thought made a big impression on me. Like my colleagues here who have been here, a decade plus, he's almost near retirement. They came in and really had this expectation that I would contribute right away. It was like, clearly we're bringing him in. He comes in with knowledge and experience. Let's use it. So my first and my big kind of project was to do a technical review of what's called at IFC a country private sector diagnostics. They're basically a summary of the constraints to private sector development in a particular country. And my task was really to really evaluate actually every single CPSD, especially specifically the health sector, to see how we could improve. Because at that point we were going through a review of this particular knowledge product, which now actually has been streamlined, and some of the recommendations I gave, which then after my internship, I was actually brought back a month later to do a brown bag lunch. It's kind of like a knowledge session to a group of colleagues here about my findings. So it was one of those things where I got to see both, do the work, present it, of course, to my direct managers, but also present it to a wider audience. And it's really, I would say it's really cool to see that, the guidance I provided actually be implemented, which is not something I would have expected from an internship. So it was very, very impactful for me.
Fantastic, fabulous. And I like the fact that, and what people need to understand, that with an internship opportunity at the World Bank Group, your impact starts from day one. Like, you start contributing from the day you start work. You're put into that project almost immediately. So let's talk about the application process itself, because I'm sure we have over 1,000 people online, so they would like to know how the application process was for you. The interview process. What was it like? What was it like for you? I mean, you were successful, you got it. So how did you prepare? What was it like? How did you prepare?
I mean, I came in, of course, and I remember actually being in one of, I think, the session then for the global internship program, and just seeing kind of the number of people and being like, oh, wow, like just seeing, it can be daunting, right? It can be scary. You could, and I came from the private sector. For a while, I was mostly US focused. So I think doubt comes in oftentimes, but for anyone listening right now, it's, whatever value you have value to provide the World Bank Group. So it's just articulating that value, and that your own, your story, your narrative into your application materials. And that to me was the challenge for myself, like, having all these different backgrounds coming from focus on the health sector, also my experiences, taking all of that and condensing it and write out just a couple of pages. That to me was the toughest part, because there's always, you always want to say more, you always want to, expand on your experiences and all of these things, but It's making sure you're concise and also impactful in how you say it. Make sure your story is poignant, because you may have the most impactful story out of anyone, but if you can't translate that into the size of the application materials, right, people aren't going to understand it, because Mabel, you and our colleagues here are reading through all these applications, and it's a lot of them. So making sure you stand out, I think, is the toughest part. But it can be done, and I would recommend having others review it. That really helped me, because what I thought I was saying with my application materials, I had professors, I had friends, former colleagues read through my materials and say, no, that didn't really come through. Like, this is what I understood from your application. So I would recommend, honestly, just iterating as much as possible on it, and starting early, which I'm guilty of starting things late, so I'm a bad person to give that advice. Yes, but starting early helps, and making sure you're iterating and making sure that final, that final application materials you're submitting, you can look at them and say that's me.
Great. Thanks so much, David. One last word. If you were to give one last word to over 1,000 people online now as a piece of advice, what would it be? One advice.
The one piece of advice, and this is directly related to the application, is actually to really know your purpose. There's a lot of talented people out there, and to me, because now, reading other people ask me to read, some of their applications, not just for this, but just for positions in general here. The advice I give is to really know your purpose. Because you could take your talents anywhere, right? I'm sure all of you online are incredibly talented, have a lot to bring here, but why the World Bank for you? Because the applications often focus on, like, here's what I can provide the World Bank, which is a good thing to write down, but also how what purpose brings you here. That's, to me, often it's not always clear why people want to, what's the motivation to be here, and again, focus your time and your talents here. So that's the last piece of advice I would give, to make sure that really comes through.
Sure. Thank you so much, David. And if you can just stay on, because I'm sure probably there were questions directed to you. I'm also watching to see if any pops up. And if they do, I would go ahead and bring you up again. But very quickly, guys, I would like to go through how you can. And David, thank you so much for the piece of advice. I think you have actually gone through most of the things that we, the recruiters, or we that are managing the program, would have advised. So that's very, very valuable. But very quickly. Okay, so these are the tips that you need to ace your application. I really love this slide because it has everything you need for that application to be successful. A lot of people ask, what do I need to put on my CV so that I stand out? I think David explained it, articulated it properly for everyone, but very quickly, these are 10 quick things that you need to know if you want to ace your application. Show a clear development purpose. Your passion would usually come up from your resume or your cover letter. Like David said, there may be a lot of things that you want to write about. Focus on the things that really matter, those impactful things and things that really would bring out your passion to life. Highlight your technical skills. Craft a very good cover letter. Demonstrate international awareness. Network strategically. Tailor your application to the specific rec you're applying to. Nadine did mention maximum 3 requisitions. Please do not apply to more than 3. Pick up the top 3 that really matches your skills and experience and apply to those ones only. And make sure your resume is totally aligned, or your cover letter is aligned to those requisitions. Most importantly, and David also touched on that, please apply early. Don't wait till the last minute, because what happens, technology would usually fail you at times. Maybe the system could crash because there are tons of you trying to apply at the same time. So ensure that you apply early. Also note 11:59 p.m. deadline. For some places, for some location, 11:59 p.m. is not 11:59 p.m. I do know in Washington, D.C., 11:59, I think, is 6:59 p.m. So imagine if I thought it was 11:59 and I wanted to submit my application at 11. The link would have been deactivated by then. So please Google 11:59 UTC p.m. What does it mean? What does it translate to in terms of the time in your current location? Because they're totally different. Okay, show that you work in multicultural teams and be ready to explain what you want to learn. Be ready to explain what you have on your resume, what you have on your cover letter, because we actually do read them. And so your interviews will be based on that. So be ready to translate and explain all of them. Now we're going to move into questions and answers. And I do know we do have a lot of questions, and thankfully, thanks colleagues for attending to the questions in the chat. But right now we're going to go into the questions that you had put forward whilst you were registering. We'll focus on the top questions. I think we have more than 500 questions. So definitely it is humanly impossible for us to go through all of them, but we will try our best to go through as much as we can. And this is why we ran through the presentation and everything, and we've tried to finish quite on time so we can take you through the questions. So I would just go through and read out the first one. I think the first one with the highest likes, it has 76 likes, says, will applicant CV and cover letters be run through AI on the first stage of screening? What are the keywords and key traits that World Bank is looking for? I mean, if I have to tell you the keywords and key traits, am I not just giving out too much? I don't know. Rudy, do you want to answer that? Because I think skills and keywords, they vary. So I cannot say is data analysis, or is Python, or is collaboration skills. Skills differ per job description. Rudy, over to you.
Yeah, the World Bank group is very skills driven. So students who stand out usually demonstrate strong capability in at least one of these areas. So let me give you some examples. Let's say data analytics, you want to see Stata, R, Python, GIS, econometrics could be among them. If you're applying for something that's finance and economics, something that's financial modeling, or macro or micro analysis could be good, right? If it's policy or research, potentially policy briefs, academic research, field work would be stuff that we would want to see on your resume. If you're applying to something that's more sustainable development, perhaps highlighting the climate, the energy, agriculture, urban planning. And if it's something that has to do with operations and project management, those skills such as M&E, monitoring and evaluation, stakeholder engagement could be useful. So look at the TOR for the position and highlight those keywords that you want to showcase.
Definitely. And since you're talking about the technical skills, Rudy, the next question says, beyond the technical skills, what are you looking for when recruiting interns? And I think this is probably the soft skills now that we're talking about.
Yes, for sure, the soft skills, but also there was that second slide that I was talking about where we were talking about the cultural attributes, the values of the World Bank Group. These are key. David said, many of you have excellent academic background, right? So it goes beyond that. It goes to how will you be able to support our mission and be able to align with some of those main values that we hold.
Yeah. Okay. I think the next question was just, can I apply? Can we apply for the internship as a master's student? Yes. I mean, it's one-on-one. It's there everywhere. Yes, you can apply. What makes the student stand out? What type of students are we looking for?
So,
David, do you want to take that? Tell us what makes people stand out. Rudy, I was waiting for you too, but David, go ahead. Tell us, what do you think what made you stand out? What do you think made you stand out? And then Rudy, you can come in, and Nadine, if you have anything to add. David, go ahead.
I mean, maybe I'll have to throw it back to your first answer, but it will, there's, I think, and alluding to both of your answers before, one, there's a specific experiences and skills that'll make you, I think, stand out for your particular position. The position I had, my internship position that I ultimately, interviewed and got was focused on, it was within the Africa Regional Economics Unit, but it was focused on health economics. And the sector experience was really important to them, and the ability to do econometric analysis, the ability to really understand the private sector healthcare and how it applies within the region. Those things were key. They were really looking for that. And even my interview, I know I didn't discuss the interview, but my interview was very technical. It was like, how would you set up an insurance market, a private insurance market in a particular African country, right? And I had to walk them through that. And so it was incredibly technical. So it's like, and my recommendation here, it's like, if you're applying for, be selective about where you're applying for and make sure you feel confident about that. Because from what I remember, a lot of the, things will be geared towards one type of skill set or experience or another. So to answer the question, it's like, who are we looking for? It could, one, really depend on the position in terms of skills and background experience. But Rudy, to what you had answered before, it's an incredibly culturally diverse place. Like it really, really is. Like you walk down the halls of any of the buildings and you'll hear however many languages going off at once. It really is a beautiful, amazing experience. So it's to me, that's who we're looking for. It's the person who can really, add on to that and really, not only, to me, it's, I feel like all my colleagues are always appreciative and in awe that this is kind of the space we get to be in. So definitely someone who fits kind of that DNA. It's almost hard to put in words.
Yeah. Rudy, Nadine, any add to that?
Yeah. And excellent. Well said, David. I would say, from sitting on hundreds of interviews, I can tell within the very first 5 minutes whether this person knows the World Bank Group and what we do, and this person, and if they do it or they don't, right? It's very quick. So really do your research, learn about this institution. It's very complex institution. So try to learn as much as you can. And for that, my suggestion is, read some of our publications. The annual report is a great place to start if you have some time. But if you don't have much time, we have channels. For example, we have a YouTube channel. If you only have 5-10 minutes, you can watch a video of one of our projects and learn about that, right? So the more you learn, the better prepared you will be for a potential interview. So try to learn.
Fabulous. Nadine?
Thanks, Rudy, David. Yeah, they covered it up. Just to sum it up well. So if you have any of the qualities which David and Rudy mentioned, please make sure that you highlight those in the cover letter and application, as this is the opportunity to show the World Bank Group why you could make a meaningful contribution to the mission and values for the institution. So just want to highlight that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. The next question is how critical is networking? And I don't know why this question keeps coming up. I don't know if there's anything out there that tells people that for you to be successful and work in the World Bank, you must know someone at the World Bank. I tell you, it's a myth. It's not really true. I knew no one when I joined the World Bank. Most of us that joined didn't know anyone. But I can understand the power of networking and how that can help you. So Rudy, do you want to take a stab at that?
Yes. So,
Sis, how important is that? I mean, networking.
right. No, look, you don't need connections to get in. But talking to people really helps you tailor your application. So, you may want to use LinkedIn to share or to find people that have studied in your university and program, and you want to talk with them, right? And learn a little bit more about the institution. You may try some of the university alumni networks. That could be very helpful too. We have World Bank Group events, webinars, public lectures, all accessible. Or maybe you want to reach out to professors who collaborate with World Bank Group researchers, right? I think the networking is more for you to learn about the institution, not necessarily for anyone out here to open a door for you, because at the end of the day, you'll have to apply and you'll go through this whole process, right? So just network strategically, right? Try to continue you're learning about the institution.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Rudy. I'm going to try and see how I can go through most of them quickly. Does a successful internship lead to job opportunity? I mean, David is an answer to that. However, clear cut, it's a no. It doesn't mean that there's a clear track. As soon as you're done with your internship, there's a term appointment waiting for you, or there's a consulting or YP waiting for you. But David is a testament to that, because some of our interns have gone ahead to have either consulting opportunities or term, or been successful in YP. Ideally, or what you need to know is that all positions are competitive and you will still need to compete anyway. But David is a good testimony to that he finished his internship, he got a consulting opportunity, and now he's in a term appointment. And I think he went through that in detail. So I will skip that. The next question says, which department will offer internship? The website mentions investment, economics, and private sector development. How many spots are available in each? Nadine, do you want to take that?
Thanks, Mabel. So thanks for the question. So we welcome candidates with interest in operations and support functions across a wide range of areas, which is mentioned in the institution. In terms of the posting, you can see the list of opportunities in two tracks. One is the undergraduate track, another one is the postgraduate track. We are having around 45 positions for the postgraduate track, and please do expect that we are receiving more requests from the client in terms of adding more intern positions. So you will see more positions coming up this week. And in terms of the corporate functions, you can see positions in accounting, communications, IT, HR. And in terms of IFC, you can see positions on the investment portfolio management, position on E&S and everything. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Nadine. So yes, their positions are across the board, but like Nadine mentioned and highlighted, more positions will be posted in the next couple of days. So please feel free to go back and check by Friday. Remember, the entire program is open. Applications are open till February the 17th. But we would be posting more positions, especially for the private sector of the World Bank. Next question, are interviews single round, and will they be heavy on technical questions or primarily behavioral? David, I'm afraid I have to come to you on that because you have actually lived it. You went through the interview process, so you're the best person to answer these questions. So our interviews, technical, behavioral, both, how are they? So give us, tell us your own story. How was it?
Yeah, mine was a panel interview, and it was kind of all done at once. So there was both a behavioral portion and I would say a highly technical part of the interview. So it was like, I think, 3 people were on there, and I think each handled like a different aspect. So it was kind of encompassing of both.
Rudy, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that was good.
Okay. All right, great. So the next one says I saw a question on, is there visa support and all of that? And the answer is yes, guys. So it's yes, and I think it was on the slide. So just know it is there. It's yes. For African applicants, will they be placed in the African region, or can they be moved to other countries? Anyone wants to take that, Rudy?
Look, our internships are open to people from anywhere and everywhere, right? You'll see them listed on the website. Some of them are listed with a specific location, let's say Washington, D.C. headquarters. Others are listed with the country office. right? We also have those that are virtual positions, right? That you can also apply and really work from virtually anywhere. Probably ideally on the same time zone as that team. If you need support getting visa to come to Washington, D.C. headquarters, for example, we have a visa team that will support with that, right? If you're looking for something in your country, region, obviously a visa support would not be needed. But I think I saw a question regarding Africa, right? If you're African, would you be able to get support to come, for example, to headquarters? And that's a yes.
Yes. Okay. For candidates from countries outside the listed locations, could you clarify mobility arrangements and whether financial or logistical support exists for the placements? Nadine, Rudy?
Yeah. So I think Mabel covered it in terms of the compensation. So these are the paid internship where the compensation depends based on the location where you're applying it for. So in terms of the logistical support, yes, based on each client, the travel allowance will be provided, but depending upon the hiring units. And in terms of the housing and accommodation, unfortunately, we won't provide that support. It should be the intern who need to take care of that. Rudy, do you want to add anything?
In my experience, sometimes the intern networks support each other, right? There's interns that are coming to Washington, D.C. They may not know the right locations, what's dangerous in the city. So they do have a network, a cohort, where they end up talking to each other. I know there's interns that even created their own WhatsApp groups, right? So this is key. I think the interns end up helping each other a lot once they join the institution.
Yeah, I think if you're in terms of logistics, I know one thing, and I think it's on the website as well. We do not offer housing. So, for example, if you're based in Africa and you get this on-site internship opportunity in DC and you would like to come do it in DC in person, we do not offer accommodations. This is why you're paid, right? But to Rudy's point, it's a cohort. You have good networking opportunities, so you'll be able to speak to other interns. You could find another intern that is also looking, and you can maybe share an apartment or something. But you would have those resources available for you. But internship roles are paid. So if you get the job, you will be paid. Are there any support given when it comes to maybe, I saw the mobility question, maybe transport, like how do I get to DC? It depends on the hiring unit and budget, if budget allows. So if a particular hiring manager has the budget to pay for your ticket to DC, they would do it. But if they do not have, they wouldn't be able to do it. For some, they do have the budget and they do it if they do. I hired 2 interns 2 years ago and I had the budget to do that. So I did it. But it depends on the hiring unit and what budget they have available to hire an intern. Okay. I hope I was able to clarify that. And what are the main qualities recruiters look for? I think we've covered that. We did cover that. What is the format for a good CV? Is there any age limit? No. Is the location for internship located in Washington, D.C.? No. If you go to the website, you would find all the different locations of the internship position. It is posted, so it is there. I saw a question. Someone said the link wasn't working. Please send an email to World Bank Group, wbgpioneers@worldbankgroup.org. And so with the particular link that is not working, because there are more than 60. So send the particular link or the particular rec that is not working, and then Nadine would be able to look into it and fix it. But any thoughts, Rudy, since you're the recruiter here?
That question on recruiter on the resume is a good one. And I think it's good for us to add on it. Nadine said no more than 2 pages, right? So let's be strategic on those 2 pages. I would recommend make our job easier. As we're reading a resume, it's good to have a summary on top, right? On the summary, we want to see that you have the main attributes necessary for this job. So that could be language skills, if that's what's asked for. It could be some of the technical experience that David was speaking about. It could be regional knowledge, what it may be. Summarize it on the very top. That will, for me as a recruiter, to be able to slow down and say, okay, looks like this candidate has everything, or they say we have everything we want. Where do I find it on the resume, right? So then naturally I'll slow down and look through where I find that on the resume. It's important to highlight, and I think there was a question about this, we don't have any AI technology reading all of the resumes that we receive. What we have is eyeballs, right? So we have recruiters, we have hiring managers that are reviewing all the applications, and we're looking through, and obviously we're finding those keywords that we're looking for, but we're really evaluating the whole application on its own. So what else do I like on a resume? I like numbers. I like percentages. I like that you actually put things into a context, right? It's not just I supported a project in Mozambique. I helped this organization in Mozambique grow fourfold from when we started. That fourfold makes a huge difference, right? The numbers, the values in terms of dollar values of a grant, of a program, that really makes it more interesting. Also, we're looking for people that have some international experience, right? So it doesn't mean that you have to have traveled all over the world. No, but perhaps you've done research on school, right? On certain countries or certain region. It'd be great to add that, right? That international flavor, those country experiences are useful to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to
Thanks,
add on,
Rudy. Yeah.
yeah,
Go
just to
ahead,
add
Rudy.
on, this is an early career talent program, so we do understand that some of them will not have a professional experience or a very limited professional experience. To stand out, show the cover letter, making sure that whatever you did on the coursework, the group projects, and the other international projects which you handled during your academic, to make sure that it is easy for the reviewers to read it. As Rudy mentioned, we do go through the resumes through our eyeballs. So you need to be very more precise, and we need to have more clarity, and the relevance matter. And just to be more thoughtful, it's not about the length of the resume, the clarity and the relevance is what matters. Just want to add on that.
Thanks so much, Nadine. And I do know, guys, this has been fantastic 1 hour with you guys, and we would like to stay on more, but it's right on top of the clock. If there are questions that we haven't answered and you really need answers to them, please send an email to wbgpioneers@worldbankgroup.org, and a member of the team would respond to you. I saw a question on visa. If it has not been answered, especially for F1 visa students in the US with limitation of 20 hours, please note most of our internship opportunities are part-time anyway, so that should work. But please send an email with your specific question and someone will respond to it. And just to end on the CV question, remember, yes, Rudy gave very good tips about that. Nadine also rounded it up. But the basic thing, like as basic as, grammar, structure, just make sure you bring that really home. Okay, your content may be great, but if the grammar and the structure is all over the place, then you're kind of like putting the recruiter off. So that is 101, right? Just make sure standard, you have a good structure to your resume, good grammar, focus on using power verbs, achieve. Rudy said something really important, numbers, achieved 10% increase in that, led, distributed, developed, use the power verbs, when you're starting your resume. On that note, it's been amazing having all of you online, and we are hoping that you would bring in those applications and that you will also apply on time. You won't wait till the deadline of February the 17th before you put in your application so that technology does not fail you. We're looking forward to receive those strong applications, and we wish each and every one of you success, and we hope to see you on this other side come April, May, June 2026. We will be welcoming you into the WBG Pioneers 2026 cohort. Without much ado, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have more questions, please send an email to wbgpioneers@worldbankgroup.org, and someone from the team would respond to you accordingly. Thank you very much, guys. Good morning, good night, good evening, wherever you are. It's been amazing. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you guys. If you want to interested, so you can visit and you can check out and fill the form and get opportunity. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.